Greetings. This is Bharat Veg, and this message is primarily for the defense establishment. This message is primarily for the defense establishment, and what I do have to mention is that India is at war. Make no mistakes about it. No more coal emissions? Who are you kidding? No more methane gas? When India has the largest number of cattle in the world that are not slaughtered for meat, for food. I am under no illusions, and neither should the Indian leadership. India is at war on all fronts. Remember the example I gave to Dr. Swami on, instead of going to the center, to the heart of India and attacking directly, it's on the peripheries. Economically, India is being hollowed out. What I do want to ask is that what India needs to do, first of all, understand that sensitive technologies have been already given to authoritarian neighbors. Nations that are violating human rights. That is why I have advised the Indian defense establishment, indirectly up till now, but now directly, do not trust any communication that is not written on paper. Amongst yourselves as well. This technology that is out, Pegasus type included, is such that if you have a screen, no matter what safeguards you put over there, the technology exists today to be able to access data and to manipulate it. Believe it or not. Anything that is not written on paper and exchange amongst yourselves, develop means and ways of exchanging information physically. And that is the only way forward, unless you can develop your own digital technologies, communication technologies, to counter such invasions, and you will not be able to do that soon enough or easily enough. Back to physical communications. And secondly, what you need to do is ask yourself a few questions. You have the CDS assassinated. You have China and US for the first time agree on methane gas and coal. I am not a man who believes in coincidences. So, what I can tell the Indian defense establishment, you folks have nothing to worry about. Your armed forces are superior to all of these. Unknown to you, of course. And no one can take them on, including China and Pakistan combined. So here is the question that you need to address. Your digital communications, and of course recently human rights. Sensitive technology will not be passed to countries that have violated human rights. I'll discuss that a little bit later, and there are only a few countries that will sign such a rubbish, and you know why, exactly why. Fortunately for India, they will not be very important countries, and countries that rely more on India than the other way around. People have totally underestimated who or what India is. Indians, more importantly, have underestimated who Indians are. And I am hopeful that the next government that is here is Republican and throws out this rubbish being introduced by this current administration. My fear is so much, and rightfully so, that they are willing to target an entire nation, India. It is time every Indian spread news about me to everyone, so everyone is aware of who I am. The Mount Everest amongst folks, compared to whom all of those that oppose me or want to harm me or are against me are mere specks of dust. Authority or no authority, evil or no evil, doesn't matter, won't make any difference at all. So what we have going on is war, India at war, and it has already started. There is a country that is responsible for it, a black dog. I call him a Khali-sthaanees black dog who is interested in bones for himself. And for that one motherfucker, these entire nations will destroy themselves and their order. That is real great foresight by them. But it's all God's will, and thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Nothing to worry about. Fortunately, the laws and people of the US are unlike those anywhere else. So this administration is going to get such a boot. They will remember my name on the day of their passing away. That is the mistake they made taking me on. 1 and 2. With many black dogs as their front. And I will finish off these black dogs also that are opposed to me. These Khali-sthaanees. Each one of them I will finish off. On their day of passing away, they will remember me too. We could have lived longer had we only not taken him on. We made the mistake of thinking he is one individual. Continuing forth. digital communications. Your screen, whatever the operating system is used to interact, has been compromised, can be easily broached by anyone. By people over here, this is unknown to others right now, just like the Pegasus was unknown. Don't trust anything that you have to look at on a screen. No phones, nothing. Back to handwritten document exchange. Use your riders, motorcycle people, whatever else. That is the only way of ensuring the security of your communications. No other way, not radio, not anything else. Secondly, there have been two incidences that took place recently. One in Kashmir, where there was faulty intelligence received. Secondly, the other in Nagaland, traditional fault areas, fault lines. And what I would tell you is that the army has to look inwards and see. Were they set up by informers that were acting as double agents? Or was it a question of their communications that were intercepted and those informers forced to then reverse whatever they had to say? Because this information was passed on digitally. Thirdly, was it a question of your communication that was being transmitted in exchange? Was that compromised and altered? All these three possibilities are there. And of course, the fourth one being they were paid informers, meant to the double agents, like I've already mentioned. If they were a trusted source, those are the other possibilities you need to look at. I don't know the source of your informers. Of course, another possibility, a remote one I might add, exists, that it was a genuine error. I don't believe in coincidences, and neither should the Indian Defense Establishment. These days, you can make people sick like they did in Cuba with the US folks, using sound waves. Where is India in all of this technology? I can tell you, it's zero. And I will tell you a secret. Mrs. Indira Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi were both threatened with the dissolution of India. The same plan is unfolding right now. It is quite possible that Mr. Narendra Modi has been given ultimatums and warnings by this motherfucking administration, democratic administration, that is in power right now. I hope other Democrats have better sense. They have traditionally been against India, to understand it's going to be a sparse patch for them politically if they don't mend their ways and if they don't get rid of this racist Joe Biden. The last thing anybody wants is war against on racial lines or on religious lines or on any other line. And I want people to sit back and think what Joe Biden wants to do is make it a racial war instead of seeing the war as it is right now. You want to make it a racial war, count the population that exists. Take Africa, take Asia, exclude Russia out of it if you want to. Take China. Well, China right now is siding with the US is siding with the China. Idiotic people both. Leave China out also. Just the Indian subcontinent, Africa. Yes, most of Europe will remain out. They will not be interested in a war which they have nothing to do with. This war is coming about as a result of racism present in certain people of certain countries. Unfortunately, one of them happens to head this administration. And I don't get fooled. So, let me advise people that work for this president, don't worry about this president. He's a goner. And, do the things. There were whistleblowers during Mr. Trump's presidency as well. There is no reason why there should not be whistleblowers in Mr. Biden's presidency as well. You see him do anything wrong, you make sure you become a whistleblower. We will get this motherfucker straightened out. He needs to be trained how to be a president. Wants to make money. Well, anyway, leave it. Leave that aside. I don't get conned by appearances. You can smile all you want to. Does he smile? You can smile all you want to. It doesn't fool me. You can offer many things, but remember, you only have 2 or 3 years left. And nobody is going to follow you to hell, which is where you're going. Continuing forth. Become whistleblowers. We don't want such a motherfucker as a president. He agreed to this rubbish just because he said this man said half Greek. I am a pure-blooded Aryan. Who are Greeks compared to me? Who were the Greeks even in the ancient days compared to me? Who are the Greeks even right now compared to me? They don't come anywhere near me. They are only shadows in the wind. As is this motherfucker Joe Biden. Shadow in the wind. Have you seen a shadow in the wind? It's the name of a book, by the way. This rubbish, we are doing it for an ex-wife. Look what you did to her 23 years ago in a different country. Different system of government. Look at who's involved in it. 23 years later? What the fuck is wrong with your brains? And you have read some rubbish written by a black dog who was appealing to racism of racist people in a different country. And they are racist, mind you. And that's why they are afraid of me. And they will remain afraid of me. So you can take race. You want to take religion? Go ahead. This Khali-sthaanees, ex-wife of mine, is a Muslim prostitute. Her dalal, her pimp, was a Muslim. So she has been trained to be a Muslim Qutiya. Herself shit scared of Islam. She thinks Hindus are going to be afraid of Muslims. Lots of Muslims think Hindus are going to be afraid of Muslims. Lions, attacking a giraffe. It's Mount Everest, motherfuckers, not any giraffe. No lion anywhere can do anything against it. In any case, you are not lions, you are mongrels compared to the real lions. So go, take all your Islamo-fascist forces together. Say I am anti-Muslim. I have no problem with that either. Golden rule. You come near me, you threaten me in any way, you will not live another day. If my security is threatened, your life is threatened too. Go Islamo-fascists, do whatever you can. Makes no difference to me. Go Muslims, do whatever you can. It makes no difference to me, because remember, you are listening to the lies dished out to you by an ex-wife of mine, a Muslim prostitute. A prostitute who found security in Muslims with Muslims. I have Muslim friends. And let me tell you about Pakistan. One of my very close friends from Karachi, Irfan Hashmi. We were so good friends, that he told me that while he was growing up, his only dream was to join the Pakistani Air Force and drop a bomb on New Delhi. So all of these idiotic Hindus who live in India think that, everyone is as tolerant, as open, as accepting as they are. They need to know they are living in a fool's paradise. Wake up, remember your areas, and your society is closed unless others also learn how to integrate with your systems and assimilate themselves into your systems. Don't like it? Take a hike. The subjugation days are over. 1,000 years can make people stupid. And that is what has happened to Hindus. They have become stupid. 700 years by the Muslims, they were all Islamo-fascists. And 300 years by the British, who are now racist, who were racist. Some of them still are. And that racist hangover afflicts countries like Canada and countries like Australia. Britain, believe it or not, is much better than either Canada or Australia when it comes to racism. One of these days, that country, Australia, will beg for Indians to go over there. It's coming around the corner. All the Indian doctors that go over there and work in remote villages instead of working in the remote villages of India, because they're getting some money over there and a better quality of life. One of these days, that supply line will be cut off. You will have to build your own doctors up. Not free, cheap doctors from India to go and live in villages where nobody else wants to go. So these Indians who go and live in countries like Australia as doctors and work in locations that are so remote need to examine their heads also. Is racism worth it? I would never live in Canada or Australia. Even Britain is not my preference. I like Boris Johnson a lot. That Thursday will never come, not to worry about it. And of course, Queen Elizabeth. I'm a big fan of hers. But so if this Muslim prostitute thinks that I am afraid of Muslims, I have news for her. You take any Muslim in this world, whether he is the king of any nation, or the prime minister of any nation, or the president of any Muslim nation, they tremble, their knees shake when they hear my name. As a matter of fact, it is my understanding that this motherfucker Joe Biden was organizing an Islamic front against India. Poor motherfucker. And I have news for the Islamic world. I am not your enemy. But if you go against me, then you have an enemy on your hands. If you go against India because of the US, I am your enemy. If you go against Indian interests because of the US, I am your enemy. This motherfucker Joe Biden is not going to be around for too long. Don't put your eggs in this one basket. On the other hand, you will see for yourself. Who are they going to send now? Snipers against me? People to shoot me? Evil to make my heart go? Poison in my food supply? In my water supply? They can try whatever they want to try. And they will fail everywhere. Hari Anant, Hari Katha Ananta. Hoi hai wahi jo Ram rachi raka. Kokar hi kharak, badaye sakha. People, nations, all are meant to deceive. People with the Kirk, Rashi, religions. जो कभी नहीं हारता वो राम होता है. किस्मत बदलने वाले को राम कहते हैं. उस युग में भी राम था, इस युग में भी राम. So Mr. Modi has also been given a warning. We will finish India off unless you do exactly as we tell you to do. Conscription. Make sure every able-bodied man joins your army. Do it bit by bit. There is no rush. People are also going to wait and see whether Biden can win or not, and he will not win. But you get ready, because if you want peace, you have to be ready for war. And I will be so surprised that the Islamic world joins US against India. It would be shocking to me. If I recall correctly, the US was the only country, the major one, that did not sign the Treaty of Versailles because of its unfair deal. So you will find that people are going to wait, watch and see, including China, before they decide to take India on. Because India should be busy preparing, both against China and against Pakistan. I've already given the Pakistan strategy. Pakistan is seeking insurance from China. You do the same with India. Build nuclear bombs. What India needs to do is immediately have a pact around China. And if possible, add Russia there, who will bomb the hell out of China. There is no reason for China to be at war with India for the sake of Pakistan or for the sake of USA. Let me add furthermore, Pakistan is now firmly a US ally both ways. All their public pronouncements of all of these nations after Joe Biden has taken over are rubbish. They are meant to fool people. China and the US are friends. They agree on coal emissions and they agree on methane gas. You must think Indians are idiots, Mr. Biden. Or that black dog, who's been given a lot of authority, I hear, because of the fact that he can be the face that acts against me. One Hindu, you may be a Hindu too, but you are a black dog getting bones, working for your bones, unlike me. I work for no one and I get money from no one except my own sources. And when I need money, and that will never be the case, but when I do, this motherfucker from Canada is going to get the shock of his life. And so will that other motherfucker sitting over here. Another black dog working for Joey against me. Specks of dust compared to the Mount Everest of people. Digital communications, the way to address it. Phonic conversations, the way to address it. And we have another thing. Oh yeah, religion, no problem. If Muslims want to think of me as their enemy, I am your enemy. Do whatever you can. But remember, you are acting according to the brains gifted to you by a Muslim prostitute who was actually the wife of a Muslim, probably converted to Islam too. And she thinks that getting Islamophobic, the black dogs think, let us get race against him, so they got racist people against me. The black dogs thought being a Hindu was good enough for them to neutralize Hindus, but I have news for them. Whether it is race, there are plenty of people who are not racist. And what is racism? basically a notion, only a notion, nothing more than that, of being superior because of the color of your skin, your features, your hair, compared to people of not who are not similar to you, who are not exactly alike. So if you are racist, I am racist. Your race does not bother me as long as it does not bother you. Religion. Once again, your religion does not bother me if it does not bother you. And if I was a Muslim, my religion would bother me. Look at Turkey. That other motherfucker, what's his name? Erdogan, Islamist. Kemal Ataturk modernized Islam for Turkey. Otherwise, women there today would be wearing burqas. As an Islamic nation, but no, the element of Islamofascism is so strong in Islam. People who may have converted because of jizya, why pay extra tax? Let's just convert. Eventually, generations down the road, they revert to Islamofascism. Their progenies, their descendants do. And instead of understanding that they are children of that very soil, they believe their ancestors are from Mongolia with Chinese eyes. There's this famous historian, and I won't give you her name. Father went as a missionary to India. American, nice, I'm sure she's a nice person. Everybody is nice somewhere or other. And probably they were laughed off the place by Hindus. She may even have been raped by a Hindu man. It's a possibility. Or gang raped. It is a possibility. The land of Kama Sutra and openness sexually. Because of this 1,000-year subjugation, especially of the 700-year subjugation by these nomadic, uncivilized, Mongolians, they became sexually repressed, and now they haven't been taught how to have respectful feelings towards women. So, whether you are a white woman, they think white women can sleep around and it won't make any difference to them. With Indian women, they just murder them after raping them. Gang rapes. Because not one of them has the courage of doing it alone. The herds. Aryas were always about individuality and individualism. And you can read Nehru's book as well to understand that. So you have, this loss of individuality, individualism, in favor of herdism, a herd mentality that came about as a result of subjugation. Let's all cower together, assemble together. Let's all do things together. Let's not stand out. Your creativity is very individualistic in nature. If India wants to progress, India will have, and there is a lot of that in India too, right now. Spark creativity, confidence, individualism, instead of this herd mentality, which came about as a result of subjugation of 1,000 years. That's why I said what Nehru said at the point of independence was the soul of a nation long suppressed finds utterance. That was then. Today, the soul of a nation needs full expression. Appeasement of Joe Biden is a sin. By everyone, whether those are European leaders or people working in his administration or Asian nations. Don't look for your immediate gains. That is a motherfucker, Joe Biden. A racist motherfucker. Don't get conned by his tokenism. Ask him, why did he agree to the ceaseless operation against me? Any nation that agrees to it because of Joe Biden, coercion, and because of whatever. Well, anyway, forget about me because I've already said Hari Anant, Hari Katha Anant. And continuing forth. वही है वही जो राम रची राका, जो राम रचता है वही होता है. So you know these people, they have come onto my Instagram line, they have exposed themselves everywhere. I don't think any one of them deserves to live, if you really ask me. But it will depend solely upon them. Those that want to see me perish shall perish themselves. Vengeance is not mine. Vengeance is the Lord's. And continuing forth, somebody wants to threaten me. Here is my door. Come, show me how brave you are. Don't hide behind corners with guns in your hands and with a police force supporting you. Knock on the door and say, I want a duel with you. I will take a pistol, you take one. Let us see who wins. And you don't have the courage. You want a fist fight? I will frisk you, you frisk me, we do a fist fight. You want to break my nose? I'll break yours, I assure you. But you don't know how to fight fair, do you? Doesn't matter. Because I am more powerful. So bring your guns, no problem. To know where I live, people know who you are. And don't worry, buddy, they will get you sooner than later. Me, Hari Anant, Hari Katha Anant. A campaign against an entire country because of one Hindu? And you are not a Hindu. You are a Kali-sthaanees, black dog, looking for bones from your white masters. Racist white masters. And these Kasamoy Randis of yours are your puppets. So I am not bothered by them either. Continuing forth. Okay. Race assembled against me. Religion assembled against me. Hey, what about the caste? Why don't you assemble the caste? This man is a Kshatriya, is a Khatri, belongs to the warrior, nobility, aristocracy class. Why don't we assemble everyone who is not of that caste against him? You forgot to mention caste. Okay, how about color? This man thinks he is so and so because he is slightly fairer than we are. Let's get every dark colored person against me in India. He speaks English instead of speaking in Hindi. Let's get those people together as well. So find out whatever you can in terms of things that can be used against me and assemble them all together and use them against me. Current pretext, we are doing this because his ex-wife 23 years ago he divorced, and we are not happy with his divorce. While we have no business interfering in his life, his father made us a mistake of giving us a power of attorney, but we took it. We lied to his father. We told him we are in charge, not his father. We kept his father deceived throughout his life. We threatened him. We coerced him. And these Kali-sthaanees black dogs are going to take me on? Please, show me your face, and I want to see how many of you will survive me. I can assure you, I will see the end of all of my enemies. Hari Anant, Hari Katha Anant. The soul of a nation long suppressed needs full expression. UN Security Council. India needs a permanent seat over there. We will overthrow this Anglophile, racist, rubbish system if it does not include India as the sixth eye. We are not interested in such an order that discriminates on the basis of race. Not even culture, but on the basis of race. Tata, goodbye, we don't want it. Keep it with yourself as a secret, we will go beyond it. Handwritten paperwork, that's all we need. You can keep a note of the army movements, navy movements, wherever you want to. I don't know enough about naval communications, but they will also have to be very careful. Maybe work, in such a stealth way that their movements cannot. Communications are silent. Cloak yourself in darkness. Operate independently. Do it in a pre-planned fashion. Have your submarines ready too. No communications. It can be done. And you can take care. Do it the old way, with your periscopes. Physically everything. And you will give such a bloody nose to people that go against you. They will have a light fired under their asses. Continuing forth, conscription, no reliance on any communication other than handwritten notes through dispatch force. Alliances all around China, and see if you can get Russia on board. China is militarily vulnerable because of its dependence on Russia. But Russia itself might have a deal with the US. The Aryas make people fearful. And that's why some of the people in Europe need to wake up too. India is a very young nation and not ready for war, but it will have to fight a war if it is called upon to fight a war. And it has already been called upon to fight a war. So really there is no one India can trust. India needs to know that too. And does India really need anyone to trust with its current weapons systems that are there? No. If you can rise above modern communications, anything with the screen, you should be okay. Old way of fighting wars, back to it. Old strategies. So nothing is known to your enemies. The element of surprise is still retained. Same too with Canada. Nobody is going to go and live in that cold country, racist country. I was in Alberta for a while, and I befriended this white, and I will use the word white man. And throughout the night we were, chatting. I was working in a gas station at that time. When you first immigrate to any country, no matter who you are, you survive on your own and you take menial jobs, And the dignity of labor must never be forgotten by anybody. There is no shame in work. Anytime. So I worked in a gas station for 3 months. And of course, I came across this interesting customer who was fascinated with me. White boy. And we sat down in a restaurant the next day. I worked in a night shift when there was hardly anybody. And the graveyard shift, as it is called. And there were 2 people. There was... I met him, and he and I went to a restaurant. And he said, where we are sitting today, you would not be able to come into a place like this. Now, this is in 1995. He said, you would not be able to come into a place like this. I was shocked. What? said, because you're East Indian. He was to me. Of course, he was honest enough to share these things with me. And then, at that very same gas station, so if anybody thinks racism against Indians does not exist in Canada, please clean your minds. Canada is a racist country when it comes to East Indians. They call them East Indians to differentiate between East and West Indians. I am an Indian and I will always remain an Indian. In my heart. Because that's where I was born. Continuing forth. The same gas station. There was this old man working alongside with me. He came from some company. He was working for some oil company there. And he was married to an East Indian. And he told me, one day, he saw my attitude. I didn't give a shit whether anybody was white or grey or brown or yellow. I acted with everyone the way I was acting with everyone all my life through. The way I learned how to act with the white race in the United States of America, in Tennessee, one of the southern states. One of my friends in Tennessee said, I prefer you to the Yanks, people living in the north of the United States of America. Because this notion of racism, of being racist, does not exist in the United States of America. Compare that to Canada. So this man, old man, working alongside of me in this gas station, he told me, friend, or whatever he said, I'm not racist. I'm married to an East Indian. My kid is half East Indian. But the world has only two races, either black or white. If you're not white as per us, you are black. This is what Canadian racism is. So in a restaurant, I would go, this man's along with this guy, and he would say, you would not really be able to come here on your own. This is in 1995. Now, young Canadian boy, white. Later on, I found out he was gay. Yeah. Made no difference to me, though, That is why he was that interested in talking to me. I thought it was my intellectual brilliance. Yep. Let me tell you about racism. The same Italians who were discriminated against and are probably very, open when they are born and raised in a country like Canada. They are infected with the same racism, even though they are a lot more liberal than others. So this owner of this gas station was somebody of Italian origin. the organization behind that gas station organized a, what do you call, a contest. How many people can sell the maximum number of subscriptions to our customers for a loyalty card of the gas company. So this owner announced the same award that was being given to him by people from behind. He said, the person who gets the maximum number of people signed up for this loyalty card will get a $500 award, a prize. I was in sales, so I took up the challenge. Even though I had just landed in Canada, I still got the maximum number of subscriptions to that loyalty program. But guess what? When it came time to pay those $500, that same motherfucker owner of that gas station gave me $300 and gave this old man $200 and said, well, he said that he was working while you were getting people to subscribe, which is absolute rubbish. Which was absolute rubbish. I just smiled. I said, for $200, this man has degraded himself. I smiled. I am bigger than you are, far superior. So I was only given $300 out of those $500. And I have no doubts in my mind. The same man, old man, went to the boss and told him, look, he may have signed the maximum number of subscriptions, but he was only able to sign those subscriptions because I was doing all the work while he was jealous. Who would not be jealous? An East Indian is getting this award and I am not? Because he was, he was signing people up and I was working and doing all the hard work instead of him. That's again rubbish. Night shift, graveyard shift, few people came and the work was always split up, You went to him and the owner said, nobody expected me to win, of course. East Indian, just fresh off the boat, is going to win a sales contest. I said, okay, fine. East Indian, who cares? Okay. 200 yards, 300 hits. I would be out of my mind. I would have been bitten by a mad dog with rabies for me to want to live in Canada. No, thank you. I am very happy in India or here in the US. And I will take care of this motherfucker Joe Biden. Young girls over there who were working alongside of me were aghast. They said, you should complain against this owner. We think it's very unfair. What each one of them told me, we think it is very unfair. That, you were not given the $500 award prize after it was announced. So, people look down upon that man, the owner of that station, because he acted in the wrong fashion as a result of being influenced by racism. Now you can say, well, he gave you a job, so he was not really racist. Yes. You see, The problem with racism is two goods cannot justify one wrong. Nothing in the world can justify any wrong. You may hire lots of Indian Mr. Biden in your administration. But when you go against one Indian because of his race, when you go against one country because of one Indian, because of another country up north who shares your racist views, nothing can compensate for that. You need to get out of this political power. You are not deserving of being the President of the United States of America. And your nation, which talks of human rights, needs to address its relations with Canada seriously. Canada talks of, whenever the US talks of racism, Canada is so cunning. It talks of black people, but it never talks of East Indians. That's what they are called. And there are many instances that I read of in the newspapers over there. This group of boys would go, this old man shopping in a store in Alberta, Edmonton. They would pick on him and they would beat him. If I was in Alberta today, I would organize a Cosa Nostra sort of system. Bullet for bullet, life for life, man for man. There was again a young boy who was working along with me in the gas station. And I was speaking to him. He used to go to bars a lot. Not that handsome, but well built and well liked by women. He had a big long nose, high Slavic cheekbones. Now, Slavics are also Indo-Europeans, for your kind information. Some leaders think that Slavs are not Indo-Europeans. They're wrong. So, you had this guy tell me one day that I was at this bar and standing next to me was somebody white. And this, Chinese guy came over there and knifed him and put him to death. I was shocked. I said, any reason for it? He said, no. He said, I was there, and at the time of being arrested, they asked him, why did you do this? He said, I just wanted respect. So Canada, you're going to have a lot of knifings over there if you don't correct your system. You can start with those black dogs over there. That is my sister and my brother-in-law. No problem. Please finish them off. If I was in Canada today, I would make sure everybody who is black, that is everybody who is not white, has a weapon of some sort on him. the first instance they see some wrong being done along racial lines, kill that motherfucker off. Kill that white motherfucker off. He's a racist. Only when you see injustice being done, not otherwise. Get involved in that. And a few such people dying, they will understand the meaning of terror. They haven't really understood race as it exists today, but they will. They need to. Living in an isolated country, living off the United States of America, who leaves them alone. Do whatever you want to, we don't know. Joe Biden says, we don't know. Because of the racism that exists within his own heart. He threw aside all US law. He threw aside all human decency. You talk of human rights, don't make me laugh, Joe Biden. Where were your human rights concepts when you signed that approval for a foreign government to operate in this country? And involved your own organizations as well to help them. For an ex-wife of 23 years ago, above and beyond the system of justice, every judge listening to this over here will be aware of your true colors, Mr. Joe Biden, and what racism really is. They are the people who set up righteous conduct. If they don't act against you, Mr. Biden, they can take suo moto cognizance of what I have just said and call you, yes, Joe Biden, you are Tatti, in my opinion. You know what Tatti is? As that black dog, he will tell you. Or his master, the one that is feeding him bones. Or this other black dog over here. He's a black dog too. Kali Tatti. And all those that listen to these motherfuckers who come onto my private line and talk. Or call others because of their inferiority compared to me. They want to get to the same status as I, and they cannot. When has ever a speck of dust reached the heights of Mount Everest? Small little dimension, little nothing beyond that. So judges, please take suo moto cognizance of Joe Biden. He may be suffering from dementia. It may not be racism, I don't know, but he is not fit to be in power. This country will go downhill so much and so far because of one motherfucker. If I were him, I would give up politics altogether. Not fit to rule. And all the presidents of the United States of America will hear what I have to say. And all these politicians will hear whatever I have to say. Make no mistakes about it, Joy Boy. I am really from Tennessee, if you want to know. And what do I want to say? Indian defense establishment, be ready for war. Use whatever resources you have. Russia is also on the side of the US right now. It is only India alone facing China and Pakistan with the help, the surreptitious help of the US and other Anglophile countries. I am so surprised at Denmark. I know Norway has a fondness, and Sweden too, I think, a fondness for Muslims, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. I hope lots of them go to your nations and settle over there. Give you some multiculturalism as well. And the ability to learn tolerance like Hindus have and do in India. Norway, Denmark. Shocking, okay. Denmark, Norway. What's the other country? Oh, of course, Australia. Okay, Scotty boy. It's not me that's going to be wearing that, but you might one day. Especially when your cataract operation goes wrong by an Indian doctor or a non-racist white doctor. And what's that motherfucker's name? Justin Trudeau. I leave it in your hands, Joe Biden. Do whatever you can for me, please. Neither Joe Biden can do anything, nor you, motherfucker, can do anything. You were aware of it all along. What you came to him were those details were fully well known to you all along. When all is said and done, all of you motherfuckers that are racist will say, it really, really would have been much better to pay him off. But it is too late now. I reject any offer that is made to me. This will be fought by me after I defeat all of my enemies, and if it means their death, they will die. Because it is my life or theirs, and I value mine more than theirs. No cloning rubbish. Nobody is going to live in this country as my clone. Only I will. No ex-wife is going to live in any flat nearby. Anybody that has been brought over here has been brought over here illegally. That Randi Khasam Aurat will be thrown in jail. Because I will bring another woman over here soon enough. I can do one even right now. I know who. Two. So please get on the phone now, black dogs. Khasam moyon ke khasam. And khasam moyon. And this Khali-sthaanees. Please get on the phone and start pleading with that woman. Please don't come over here. Please don't prefer him, and use mind control too. Please. People are not stupid. You can fool, as an old Indian saying goes, you can fool people some of the times. You can fool some people all of the times, but you cannot fool all of the people all of the times. And 23 years later, whatever happened or did not happen does not matter. 23 years later, if somebody became a prostitute in a different country, then that system is responsible for it. What have you done with those pimps? That is my question to you, Canada. What compensation did you pay this prostitute? That is my question to you. How did you correct your system? That is my question to you. What did you do for other prostitutes living in that colony? Is my question to you. Your heart bleeds for just one prostitute? What about the rest that are over there? Each one with a sob story. What have you done for them? Let me tell you, nothing. You think this Khali-sthaanees is the only sob story in that country, in that area, in that city? Each one of them, including those Indians, majority of the prostitutes in that area are native American Indians. Each one of them has a sob story. How many of those did you address? Did you use your spy agency over there for them? And their tragedies are even worse than this Khali-sthaanees tragedy. Because what you motherfuckers don't know is she was already a prostitute in India before I married her. And if you don't believe me, why doesn't somebody conduct research on her background? What are you afraid of? I'll tell you what you are afraid of. You know that I am never wrong. Aryas are never wrong. Human rights. Okay, let's come to human rights. Again, rubbish. Again, India is that target for sensitive technologies. And let me continue this forward. So, India knows which countries it should not deal with. Number 1, France. Number 2, UK. Well, UK, I think you will have to really reconsider UK again because I like Boris. Leave UK aside and I like Queen Elizabeth. France. Unless this Macron idiot is replaced, macaroni and cheese, there is no need to do business with a loser. Secondly, Denmark. I am surprised at how idiotic Denmark has been. But okay, unless Denmark changes and comes forth with the entire truth about Joe Biden, there is no need. Denmark doesn't do much business with India in any case. Norway, please send as many Muslims to Norway and Sweden as you can so that those populations can enjoy multiculturalism over there with that. And UK too, let them enjoy multiculturalism. And Canada, of course. Canada, Australia, UK, USA. And who else is left, USA because of this motherfucker Joe Biden. I am appealing to whistleblowers. Come forward and expose that motherfucker. Including Blinken. I think he even thought of leaving his post because of how unethical and idiotic and malicious Joe Biden was. You can ask Blinken. So you need to sabotage a motherfucker like Joe Biden too. In Canada, your nation is history. People are going to shun your country because I don't lie. And you can use this black dog and say, I am East Indian too. I am Hindu too. Please take a survey. Send foreign teams to take a survey in Canada, and they will tell you the truth. If anybody wants to know the truth, and I will be shocked to know. If I see the wrong look in a person's eyes and he is white, I know where he's from. That is how obvious it is to me. It may look like Jimmy Carter now. Okay. The only engineer who was the President of the United States. You have this Kasamoi Randi Aurat that wants to attack my educational qualifications. Kasamoi Randi Aurat, I have a transcript over here, not rubbish rumors, fed to you by my mother. Unaware and ignorant of reality. Too many Hindi movies. Okay, so continuing forth. I have no need for crocodile tears from anybody. Nothing, they do nothing for me. So, that's what the defense establishment should do. Cloak yourself in darkness. Same too for the Air Force. Be careful of these Rafale jets too. Because I don't trust France now. As long as macaroni and cheese is in power, I don't want to see him in power anymore. Zemmour? Is there a Zemmour? Yeah? See, people that are honest, they tell you honestly what is in their minds. No matter how much you disagree with their views, are people I respect. But fraud, lying motherfuckers, malicious, evil, lurking in their hearts, those are not the people I bother to even spit on. I will see them out very soon, along with all of their plans against India, against me. And I know Narendra Modi, he was weeping too a few days ago. Human rights. Okay, let's come to human rights and sensitive technologies. So let me ask Mr. Joe Biden, what are human rights? Freedom of religion, is that a human right? Is that meant only for people living in a country? Does that include people visiting that country too? And when people talk of equality, what is that equality? So far as religion is concerned. Because what I think is all of these Islamic republics that treat non-Muslim populations as second-class citizens, there is a problem there. You have Malaysia that gives scholarships to native Malays. Go enjoy yourself, because you're all Muslims. As an Islamic republic, you have countries like Pakistan where equality, there is active persecution of Hindus and other minorities in Pakistan, and that is hidden. An active supporter of terrorism. And people still have dealings with such a nation. If the US lost Afghanistan, it was because of Pakistan. Motherfucker Joey. Please deal with them. Support them behind the scenes because India is your enemy. Because I am your enemy. No, it's the other way around. You motherfucker Joe, you are my enemy because you think of me as your enemy. And because of me, you think of India as your enemy. That is why you had Modi in tears. This hidden US-Pakistan arrangement has been going on for years. I don't think it is a coincidence that Mrs. Indira Gandhi visited Ronald Reagan in 1982. And in 1984, she was assassinated. Now remember, the Golden Temple was razed to the ground by many invaders, including those from Afghanistan. What happened to them? Nothing. Were the Sikhs cowards? Were they women hiding behind their shawls? Why did they not kill those people that razed the Golden Temple to the ground? Or was this assassination of Indira Gandhi a new introduction to the world of Sikh politics? My dear brothers of the Sikh faith, the Golden Temple has been razed many times to the ground by many Muslim invaders. They did not belong to any other religion. Through the centuries. But they were not assassinated. So why did you assassinate Indira Gandhi? Where were your arms for your terrorists coming from? This terrorism that existed in India, that was introduced in India for a Khali-sthaanees? Where did it originate from? Was it because if Bangladesh could be cut off, so can Punjab? Where have all these arms been coming from to Punjab? So now Punjab is being hollowed up with drugs. Infiltration. This Sanjeev Sanyal motherfucker, I challenge him to have a debate with me, is a Pakistani agent, if not an infiltrator. I want his background to be investigated. Who is he? Where he was born? What he was doing? Where he studied? His older photographs? His current photograph? Every detail of Sanjeev Sanyal I want investigated, and I guarantee you that he's a Pakistani with a Hindu name, which is what has happened in India on such a large-scale basis that Indians are going to be shocked out of their senses. Pakistanis are now living amongst you as Hindus. so they can operate against the Indian state. The Indian intelligence service was so good when the British left. They knew everything in advance. But these other motherfucking politicians after Indira Gandhi hollowed out the country. They made the intelligence service raw, so ineffective. They took away everything that the British had left so far as the intelligence service was concerned. So far as Rao is concerned. That One Godhra motherfucker, Did he want to even end up Raw? I don't know. So, 1982, I was talking about the Golden Temple. Indira Gandhi comes here in 1982. In 1984, she's assassinated. And in the meantime, there has been... and the reason? No, because the Golden Temple was, had a few bullet holes. Of course, it could never be built again. Of course, it was okay to allow a place of religion, a place of sanctity, to be used by Pakistani-supported terrorists. Where were those arms coming from? From Russia? From China? Khali-sthaanees. So Indira Gandhi did what Indira Gandhi had to do. I would have done the same thing. But I would have done many other things different. So you assassinated her. The intelligence service was so good at that time that Indira Gandhi knew that she would be assassinated. That is why just a few days ago, before she was assassinated, she said that she said that मेरे खून का हर कतरा जो गिरेगा जो है वो भारत के नाम गिरेगा. I don't put anybody on a pedestal. There were many wrong things she did. She thought Akalis were in control, or the Akal Takht was in control, and it was not. But whatever, there were many other things, including Bhadravale. She did the right thing. There are Sikhs growing up everywhere in the world that think that, terrorists were justified. Not the religion, but terrorists were justified in assassinating Indira Gandhi because the Golden Temple was affected. Why didn't you assassinate the Afghanis? Or the Iranian that raised, the Golden Temple to dust before Maharaja Ranjit Singh. I'll tell you why. Because this was a foreign enemy-inspired deal. And the Sikhs were ignorant of this. Now what happened in terms of the murder of innocent Sikhs everywhere else? Tragic. That should never have happened. That is a failure of the Indian state. But I will tell you something also. That is how Indian justice operates. The Sikhs should have come out and condemned all those terrorists. I knew somebody personally who was involved in the Golden Temple, Major General Shah Singh of the Indian Army. He was known to my father. He helped my father out in many things, and he was given charge of the terrorist Golden Temple security. He took charge, being a military man, thinking there would be a Khalistan created, and he would be in charge of the military establishment over there. Khalistan again. And during my talks with him, I met him. He was a visitor to my father's house as well. He told me I did what others did not. At a time when people were joining one particular branch of the army, I joined another branch of the army. Everybody beelined to join that branch, and I joined a different branch. I don't remember the exact details now, but because there was such strong competition in the branch where everybody who was, the star, I was basically left unopposed to progress up the ranks, and I rose much higher and much faster than the others. Major General Shah Singh. You could call him a family friend if you want. His brother was a farmer in Uttar Pradesh, well known to my family again. He died under tragic circumstances too, but that's a different story. So, what people should have done, the Sikhs should have come out and condemned the terrorists. Of course, Hindus celebrated that this was the end of terrorists. Why would they not celebrate? Terrorists, who were they killing? Hindus and other Sikhs. More Sikhs than Hindus in Punjab. Why would Hindus not celebrate the death of terrorists? They were right in celebrating it. I was sitting in the US at that time. And there was a man, Harjinder, he's a Kutsard, was sitting with me, a friend, and we watched the storming, or the news on the storming of the Golden Temple. He was unhappy. I was not unhappy because I didn't care. He thought I would be unhappy too. No, I was a person who was a very different sort of person at one time. And so I didn't care about anything. Whether it was religion or whether it was... That's why people also confided in me, like my Pakistani friend. When I was growing up, I wanted to join the Pakistani Air Force and bomb Delhi. It was so friendly. His family had come from Bhopal, was living in Karachi. He called me many times, but once again, I'm a man who, once I move on, I don't look behind. So, So, what we had going on was the Golden Temple, Sikhs. The Sikhs, they should have understood when Hindus were celebrating, it was not against Sikhs, it was against terrorists. Nobody in their imagination ever thought that the Sikhs would take exception to the end of terrorists. So Major General Shabik Singh followed that same line, and he basically took the path of becoming in charge of, again, an ambitious person thinking that he would be chief. He probably knew that he would not be chief of the Indian Army. And on hindsight, you can see that he would have been right, not deserving of being chief of the Indian Army. He was right. So, Indian system of justice. What happened? The murder of innocent Sikhs after Indira Gandhi's assassination was very wrong. But it starts with terrorism. One must not forget that. Coming from the border with weapons coming from the border. And the Sikhs, there were probably more Sikhs killed by these terrorists to make sure everybody fell in line than Hindus. But it was a threat to Indian sovereignty. So, they had to be finished, whatever be the cost. The Sikhs should have condemned those terrorists instead of taking exception to the storming in of the Golden Temple. So brave that you could not go against Muslims in Afghanistan or elsewhere when they razed down the Golden Temple. Find out in your history how many times Har Mandir has been razed down. But you were ready to assassinate Indira Gandhi. You were ready to assassinate General Vaidya. And others. That's where you folks went wrong. It was not an action against Sikhs. It was an action against terrorists. Why did you allow those terrorists to be holed up in the Golden Temple? Just because they were Sikhs? Tomorrow a Sikh rapist goes and hides in the Golden Temple and puts bombs around him. What are you going to do? Are you going to have a problem if there are bullet holes in the walls over there? A Sikh rapist was raped a Sikh girl. So the problem is dharma. You forgot what dharma is, what righteousness and right conduct is. All Sikhs should have gotten together on their own and condemned those terrorists and celebrated the murder of those terrorists. Holed up in the Golden Temple, whatever be the collateral damage, so be it. You think India will not storm the Golden Temple again if there is more terrorism? If there are terrorists holed up in the Golden Temple, I have news for my friends, my brothers. Each time a terrorist raises his eyes against India, he will be neutralized, whatever be the cost. All of your arms are coming from a foreign country. So what happened afterwards, after Indira Gandhi's assassination, was very sad. But that is how Indian justice works. And the key thing about punishing people is a lesson. It acts as a deterrence. Do not repeat such actions again. Sikhs were murdered. It was meant to hurt. It was as an expression of the hurt of Hindus. I was not even in India at that time. But I had, close family friends who were Sikhs, who were murdered in uniform by bastards, basically. But that is the system of Indian justice. That is how it works. You have rights so that justice is ensured. The Sikhs did not condemn those terrorists. They did not celebrate the end of the headquarters and the chief of the terrorists. Instead of that, even today, they have Bhindranwale lining the walls of their houses. Shame on such individuals. I hope you all listen to whatever I have to say, because this is the truth. जो पहला पत्थर मारता है, गलती उसकी होती है. बाद में अगर आपको थप्पड़ भी लगें और आपका सर भी काटा जाए, तो वो अंजाम होता है उस पहले पत्थर का. पत्थर नहीं फेंको तो आपका सर शायद ना काटा जाता. The system of the Indian system of justice. I will also come on to what happened in Godhra. The Mumbai bomb blast, the Babri Masjid, and also what is going to happen in Kashi Vishwanath temple. Remember my name, Bharat Vich. But I'll do that a little bit later on. So much for my being anti any religion. So sad that generations of Sikhs living everywhere in the world grow up with this resentment against India. The schism that now exists between Sikhs and Hindus is entirely the doing of Sikhs. Make no mistakes about it. If I was a Sikh, I would teach my children. We made a mistake. We supported terrorism across the border. Today we are allowing drugs from across the border, infiltrators from across the border, sleeper cells from across the border. Politicians are making deals for the separation of Punjab from India again. Like Major General Shabeg Singh thinking that they'll be able to run their own Khalistan. There is not going to be any Khalistan because it already exists. Khali-sthaanees. I'll come on to. Same with the Air Force, they need to cloak themselves. The war can be fought and it can be won. I think in Second World War, Britain used Spitfires against the superior German planes, even though Spitfires were older. Or was it First World War? Older technology. But because they were so slow moving, they could evade the weapons of the German planes. The intelligence service that India had needs to be completely rebuilt. Very sadly, it was demolished by motherfuckers who were not worthy of leading India. And I don't care which political party they are from. Remember, I am not anyone's enemy. I am only the friend of those that believe in the right conduct and in righteousness. Un yaron ka main yaar. Anyway, I'll continue this later on. It's many hours now. I hope I can upload this video. I'm sure I will. And I will deal intelligence service. That's what India needs to work on. If Indira Gandhi knew of her assassination beforehand, India should know of everything else. Now in 1982, she came to the US. 1984, she was assassinated. US knew of it. Pakistan knew of it. US might have even given an okay to it. I'm not sure which year it was. I was in the US at that time too. So it must have been 86 or 87. Or was it 88? Oh, it must have been 87. Or it's 86 or 87. When Rajiv Gandhi came, I think Reagan was still the president. If Reagan was still the president, yeah, it would have to be before 88. Rajiv Gandhi came and met him. And Rajiv Gandhi was assassinated in 89. So this US connection I am seeing quite a bit. I don't believe in coincidences. And both Indira Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi were worried about the independence of India. Were they being threatened by the US? US has neutralized in its mind, Joe Biden that is, not US. These are not what you call political decisions by political parties or establishments. These are idiotic motherfuckers who lead nations, and they belong to all parties. I don't care about their ideologies either. They are all shifting sands. Charismatic personalities leave an impact on your mind. What a polite, nice man Ronald Reagan was. I remember in Tennessee, University of Tennessee, Knoxville. By the way, this is also the color of the University of Tennessee. The walls. Uh, was it a coincidence that I went to such a university, such a state, with such a color? I don't know. Is the Indradhanush real? So, something you see, but is it real? Uh, such an charismatic leader. So I was at this university, University of Tennessee, Knoxville, and go and look at my transcripts. Khasam moi randi aura to understand who I was, academically speaking, instead of believing in rumors or lies fed to you by an idiotical, stupid woman for the sake of her own importance. So you had what you call this line. There was an audition. Ronald Reagan, by the way, came to University of Tennessee as well, and I did not meet him. He did meet international students over there, but I chose not to meet him because I was not invited. And I made no attempt to meet him because I was not interested. It made no difference to my life. And it hasn't made any difference to my life either. So, yeah, there was then the case of this line. An audition was being held for. There was a movie on India that was being cast. Or was it? Yeah. Or was it? No, it was immigration to the US. And they were looking for international faces, Chinese, Indians, Italians, and so on and so forth, Irish, who were all discriminated in the US when they first came over here. But with time, everything changes. A lesson which Canada has not learned because it is isolated. And it persists in its Canadian way, which is rubbish. They are the only country which has subjugated inhabitants or members of another European country. The Quebecois. The only country that has happened. In South Africa, I think the intermixing was to such an extent that it was different. But I won't talk about the uniqueness of that inferior country. And it is an inferior country. I would never live over there. I wrote a letter to Stephen Harper when I was in India, when I had gone back from Canada. If you want me to live in Canada again, I will only ask you for $5 billion. That is the minimum that I will ask of you. Otherwise, I am not interested in living in Canada again. Some black dog motherfucker wants to train me in Canada, no problem. You pay me $5 billion and I will smilingly go and live in your house. No problem. I will withstand your rubbish, your lies and your fraud. Please train me, but you have to pay for my training. Canada has to pay for my training. $5 billion. And don't be surprised if I have a Cosa Nostra working over there either. Only in self-defense, not otherwise. $5 billion. You can forget about kidnapping me. You can forget about all other stuff. If your real intention is training me, panja is all I ask for. You see my panja over here? That is all I'm asking for, $5 billion. But if your idea is to see me broke even in India, you want to sell my house, which is what my father told me before he passed away. The target is your wealth in India, that I will leave to you. So motherfuckers, qasamois, and the husbands of these qasamois, and that Kali loose tatti, you can use whichever puppet you have in your hand today. She is not mentally stable, mentally unwell. You cannot touch something which was not meant for you, is not meant for you. So all of this rubbish about this and that, it's very simple, I am willingly and happily, I will go to Canada and be trained by you. After all, your idea is to train me, isn't it? Isn't that what your idea is? Why do it through coercion? $5 billion. So simple. I am not Ram for no reason. Now, if you don't want to pay $5 billion, then why the hell should I want to go and live in an inferior country? Why the hell would I want to be trained how to live in an inferior country as an inferior being? No, thank you. So, $5 billion. Simple. And you cannot make me an offer anything other than what I have mentioned, that I won't refuse. Because I will fight. I will put my life on the line. The question is, are you willing to lose yours? What makes you think that if I am in coerced and forced to live in your house, that I will not put you to death? Whether it is in Canada or it is with this other motherfucker Qasamois Qasam over here. What makes you think I would not do that? So, what I would suggest is, instead of trying to coerce me, which never works anywhere, in anything, you invite me at a small price, $5 billion. After all, I am that important. Look at all the money the US and Canada, and the US because of Joe Biden, not for any other reason. I am a volunteer, remember that. That same spirit is there. MBA? What MBA? I spit on such MBAs. You know nothing. No MBA can ever compete against an engineer. Let me assure you of that, motherfucker. I invite you to solve the problems of the US, the economy of the US. MBA, motherfucker. And you cannot. But I can. And I won't. Nothing There is no such thing as a free lunch. So, I want to ask people, do you have enough brains? I am going to put you folks to death. And you want to invite me to live in your homes to put you to death? Not a good idea. So forget about this rubbish about coercion. Similarly, with an ex-wife of 23 years ago, how can anyone coerce and impose her on me? What would be there to stop me from being a sore loser and not putting her to death? As a price for 23 years of my life or more, whenever you think your coercion will succeed against me. What is there that prevents that from happening? So where are your Khali-sthaanees? I don't understand this. Oh, that is the other category. All those that are woke-minded. Domestic abuse, domestic violence. Oh yeah? When was that, by the way? What justifies persecution through the system against a person after 23 years? I want to know that today. So let me just tell you folks that some people are liars. They know the dangers to themselves. One motherfucker thought, let me bring him over here and let me give him electrical shocks as a mentally, a sick person. Mental ill health will make up a nice little story. Mother is a puppet. Of course, a violation of his rights has nothing to do with the anger he may or may not have felt at one time. So, I don't think I want electrical shocks anywhere, but with $5 billion in my account, maybe I'll even try electrical shocks and see who will tougher, me or the electrical shocks. So, coercion will not work with me. It will endanger the lives of those that try to force me to live with them. We sell his home. He has no place to go. He will come over here and he will murder us then, one by one. Come out of jail, murder another one. And keep on murdering you one after the other as long as I can. That is what you will find if your coercion is successful in anything at all. This is war, my dear friends. And I take no prisoners. So, stop lying to people. Your real intention is not training me. And if it is, $5 billion, I will happily and willingly come and live in your house and I won't put you to death and I will undergo your rubbish. But the $5 billion is what I require. And no question of anyone taking control of anything financially of mine. You motherfuckers are asking for real big trouble all the way around. Okay. Human rights. Two other topics, human rights and Godhra. And related to Ram temple Babri Masjid. The name is Babri Masjid because his name was Babur. How many idiots sitting in India know that his name is Babur? Not a Babur, not Babura, but Babur. That is the real name. And if you want to know how ugly Humayun was, look at his real painting. Ugly motherfucker. Akbar was half Iranian. And that is the reason why, he had slightly different features than those Mongoloids, those mongrels. He himself was a mongrel too. All inferior beings, if you want to ask me. The Aryas, they had split up into small little kingdoms. There was no unified whole. As long as there is a unified whole, no one can touch India. No matter how big, how strong, how powerful. But I'll continue with these topics later on because it's only 2 hours and 16 minutes so far. I hope I'm able to upload this on YouTube. Love and roses.